What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Andrew Finance video. T-Mobile will pay $350 million to settle lawsuits over a massive data breach. The data breach compromised the personal details of nearly 77 million customers. If you were a T-Mobile customer in August 2021, you may get a few dollars from the carrier in the near future. It has agreed to settle a consolidated class action lawsuit filed against the company over a data breach that exposed the personal information of 76.6 million current, former, and prospective customers. This is significant because the breach covers not only current customers, which kind of makes sense, they need your information, but also past customers whose information they just held on to, probably so that they could sell it to advertisers, and prospective customers, people who were planning to become customers but maybe hadn't actually signed up yet, but whose information T-Mobile had and then went ahead and leaked. Back when T-Mobile's CEO, Mike Sievert, admitted and apologized for the breach, the carrier said the individual who hacked the network used specialized tools and knowledge of its infrastructure in order to gain access to its testing environment. Don't believe that for a second. This is just their PR speak to try and make it seem like the breach was some complex thing that only a genius hacker could have pulled off, when I can almost guarantee it was a default password that was left up, or maybe a disgruntled former employee who saw a quick payday. That individual then stole customer data from the network and sold it on hacker forums. The type of information that the bad actor sold varies per person, but it could include the name, birthday, and social security number for each individual. This is absolutely huge because with that kind of information, you can start to do things like open credit cards and take out mortgages. T-Mobile got in touch with the people affected by the data leak shortly after it came to light and offered them 2 free years of access to McAfee's ID theft protection service, which is a tiny and almost insultingly small recompense for the amount of damage that they had caused by the data leak. Now they're also getting monetary compensation, though it will likely be a few dollars at most. And if you are a T-Mobile customer that might qualify for this and you're curious how much you could possibly make from this, don't worry, the big bucks are coming in. You could receive cash payments of $25 according to Reuters, or up to $100 if you are a California resident. So get ready for the big bucks to just be pouring in after T-Mobile leaked your data and possibly ruined your life if your identity was stolen. While the $350 million settlement may sound substantial, a huge chunk of that will go towards paying off legal fees. Possibly up to 30% of that. The rest will be divided among tens of millions of affected customers. That's the $25. According to the SEC filing spotted by GeekWire, the company will also spend $150 million on data security technologies throughout this year and the next. That's not a total win because they'll be able to just write that amount off on their taxes and then have to actually pay less next year. So that's a win for T-Mobile. Now I want to dig in a little more to the $350 million that they're going to have to be paying out. If you look at T-Mobile's 2021 operating revenue, which is the year that the data breach happened, it is $80 billion. $350 million out of $80 billion, for those of you curious, it is about 0.4% of their operating revenue. That is an absolutely tiny, essentially insignificant amount to pay, especially when you consider how much money they probably saved by not having to pay for security experts and the software required to prevent a data leak from happening in the first place. They probably just about broke even on this investment. And just to add another layer of perspective, if I were to pay 0.4% of my annual salary as a fine, it would be about $176. Certainly, that is money I would like to keep in my pocket, but I spend more on that on most things in my life at a month. It's more than that on utilities, more than that on gas, more than that on groceries. $176 is not nothing, obviously, because it's $176, but it is so insignificant in the grand scheme of things as far as my financial situation goes. This is not even a deterrent. So the moral of the story is crime actually does pay if you have enough money to be able to fight it in court for long enough to get a settlement that is equivalent to at least as much as you've saved by not following the law in the first place. So go ahead and commit those crimes. Just make sure you're rich. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you the next time something significant happens.